Hey there, it's Seb Fry here with another exciting episode of It's a Seb Show. Listen, a lot of times when people go to sell their houses, they have some questions about how exactly they should detail their home on the multiple listing service, right? Like, here's a classic example. Let's just say it's an older house, and around here, there's a lot of older houses, houses that were not built 10 years ago. They were built 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago. And in that time, who can say what exactly has happened? But, maybe the square footage does not quite add up with the assessor square footage, or maybe there happens to be an extra bedroom or an extra bathroom, right? Could be, like, how'd that get there? You don't know. You've only lived there for 20 years. It was like that when you bought it. Who's to say? So when you are putting your home up for sale and you have, 4 bedrooms in your house and the assessor says you have 3 bedrooms, or you have 2,000 square feet, but the assessor says your house is only 1,700 square feet, what do you do about that? Or what do you do about that bonus space in your attic? Like, maybe you had like a really high attic and that was never counted in the square footage, but sometime, somewhere long ago, you don't know how, somebody turned that into living space. They drywalled it, they insulated it, and it's quite nice. Maybe it has like, 7, 8 foot ceiling, something like that. It's a very usable space. Do you count that as your square footage, or do you not count that as your square footage, right? What do you do with all that bonus space, right? Maybe there's like a downstairs area that was long ago, like sort of like finished off. And maybe it only has like, 6.5 foot ceiling, something like that, but it's a usable space. Do you count that? Do you not count that? What do you do? Or how about this one? Let's just say you have a house and you have like a granny unit, right? Like a guest house. Do you count the bedrooms and bathrooms and that square footage along with the main house square footage so that your house looks like it's bigger and has more bedrooms and bathrooms than it actually does? I mean, should you count those even though they're in a detached structure? Well, that's a very good question. And I cannot give you an answer definitively one way or the other, but I can give you some very good advice, right? So here's my very good advice for you. And I'm going to do this by telling you a story. So once upon a time, I had a house which was a 3 bedroom house. The assessor called it a 3 bedroom house anyway, but actually it was really more like a 2 bedroom house. And the reason for that is because an addition had been done to the property and a third bedroom was added. But in order to get to that third bedroom, you had to go through the second bedroom in order to get to the third bedroom, right? So the assessor actually did call it 3 bedrooms. It was actually permitted as a 3 bedroom house. That was all legitimate square footage, but it lived more like a 2 bedroom house because that middle bedroom there, it was essentially unusable as a bedroom because somebody would have to walk through it in order to get to that third bedroom. So we were selling this property and we had a lot of people come through and we were marketing it as a 3 bedroom home because, it is technically a 3 bedroom home. But when people would come through, they would say, hey, where's the third bedroom? Because they didn't get that had been a bedroom. And so here's the thing, is that when they went through the property, there was less to the property than they were expecting to see, right? They were expecting to see a full 3 bedrooms. And when they realized that one of the bedrooms was sort of compromised, that did not sit well with a lot of the buyers. And we really struggled to sell that property. And there were a number of reasons why we struggled to sell the property. Don't let me get into all of that. But what happened was that we were on the market for some months and we couldn't get it sold. And then the holidays came around and the weather started getting really cold and damp. And so we took off the property from the market for just a few months over the holidays and wait for some warmer weather. And we put it back on, I don't know, middle of February or early March. I can't remember. It's been a while. But when we put it back on, we put it back on for the same price, but as a 2 bedroom home, And so when we put it back on the market as a 2 bedroom home, people came to the property and guess what they said? They said, wow, that's really great. It's 2 bedrooms, but then it has this extra bonus room right here. Like, this is like an office. Like, what is this, right? Same house, same price, but the perception was totally different because people were not expecting to see a 3 bedroom home. They were expecting to see a 2 bedroom home. And then it had this bonus space, which they hadn't been expecting. And so we actually were able to then get an offer pretty quickly that was very acceptable to the clients. And we did actually get that property sold in very short order because the property exceeded the buyer's expectations. And so when it comes to you, like what should you do with that square footage or that extra bedroom or bathroom? Let me ask you this. How does the buyer experience that when they're in the property? Do they experience that fourth bedroom as a legitimate fourth bedroom? Well, then maybe you do go ahead and list that as a four-bedroom home. Do they experience that additional bonus living space as equal to the rest of the living space in the rest of the house? Does it have good light? Does it have good ventilation? Does it have good heat? Does it have, the proper number of electrical outlets? Is the floor level and the house is a room plumb and square? If that bonus space is equal to the rest of the space in the house, well, then maybe you do want to go ahead and count that as the square footage which you're advertising for the house. Now, of course, you want to disclose anything that you know about the property. If that square footage is not recognized by the assessor and you know that it's not, you for sure want to disclose that, right? Okay, now as to the guest house, now the guest house, adding that square footage and bedroom and bathroom count onto the main house, I actually never recommend that you do that under any circumstances. And here's the reason why. The reason why is because people, they look at the guest house more as like one unit, right? I mean, some people are looking for like a family compound. Of course they are, right? But most people, when they're looking for square footage of a property or bedrooms and bathrooms, they're looking for contiguous square footage. They want to make sure that all of that can be easily accessed within the same, four walls or however many walls your house has. They don't want to have to like leave the house and walk across a muddy path in the rain to get to this other room where their other building where their grandma may be sleeping or the kids or something like that. That's not what they're really looking for. If they're looking for a granny unit, they'll look for that in addition to whatever they're expecting to see in the house itself. All right, well, that's about it for this episode of It's a Seb Show. I hope you have enjoyed watching it. And if you have enjoyed watching it, would you do me a favor? This is crazy. Would you give me a thumbs up? Would you give me a comment? Would you give me a share? That would be terrific if you would share this with anyone you know who's sort of grappling with this, like how should I market my house in terms of square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, bonus space, all that kind of stuff. I would really appreciate it. And of course, I've never really mentioned this, subscribe. Hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be terrific as well. It's Seb Frey TV on YouTube. Hey, thank you so very, very much for watching. And hey, don't freak out. It's okay. I will have another episode up again before too long.